Hey guys, Jimmy, and today I'll teach you how to make a custom Indycar diecast without drilling. So the first thing you want to do is try and find a car. Like these Alonso cars I found on IMS for $3. They're on sale, but you can really find any car around. Just make sure it's not really cool or anything, but yeah. The second step is to take off the wheels and tires like so. Make sure you don't bend the suspension, and you want to start taping it off. And you want to tape it off on the wheels, axle, and underplate in the suspension, so like no paint gets in there. And then for tapes, you can use different millimeters. I use like 5 and 2 because they normally work the best. So it's really your call, to be honest. If tape doesn't work, then I would use painter's tape. That also works, but it doesn't stick as well. So just try and keep that in mind when you start taping. So you take about a piece that big, and then you just tape off all the parts for the cars, basically. And just like that. So yeah. I'll be making a Dan Walden 2005 car, by the way, in this video, just to keep that in mind. So once you have that all done, now it's time to paint it. So make sure you lighter colors first always work the best. So like if you're painting a white or a yellow or a light color like that, make sure you paint that first, because if you paint it black, it's not going to show up as well. So that's the strategy I used. You should also tape off the inside of the car as well, so like no paint gets in there. If you're making custom driver heads, then I wouldn't worry about it, but if you weren't, then I definitely would worry. So yeah. You should also get the steering wheel too, because it's very smart to do that. So once you're done with that, take it outside and make sure you use craft spray paint, because you can use regular spray paint, but you will lose some of like the finer details of the car. So yeah, craft spray paint I would recommend. You can get like any hobby store and stuff. So, and then you would shake it up really good, and then you would stand back about like 6 inches or so, just so you can get a clean, smooth look on the car. So yeah, and if you can't get in the nooks and crannies, it's no big deal. But if you're like putting it on display or using it as stop motion or something, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's like visible, then I would try and cover it with a Sharpie paint pen later. But make sure you get an even coat around the whole car, because yeah. And then once it's dry, I'll let it sit for about an hour and a half. But I do it normally an hour. So while that's dry, you'd like figure out like the good kind of cars. So like the Dan Walden, you see like the biggest logos you should use. Try and simplify it. That's another tip. Like you can't get every single logo in there. So like see the ones that are most visible. Like you look up like the Jim Beam and the Klein Tools and the 26 and a couple of other stuff. Like the most visible logos is what you would want to use. So like Jim Beam and this, like those kind of cars. And then you would scale it down to the right size. If it's too small, it'll be hard to see, and it'll just be like a lot of work. And too big, just make it not like show up on the car really well. So like kind of get it like that size is like a little good. Yeah, it's really good for the size of the car. And then finding a number is another thing. You can use the 26 if you wanted, but you'd have to crop the image and stuff. But if it's like a livery and you want to use it for your series, but the car's already taken, just find another car like the 11, and like just crop the image size down to just the number. like I did there. Then you can just like resize it. That's around the size that'd be good for like the front of the car. But oh, and like you can like recolor it and stuff in the image options. It's not a wide variety of colors, but it'll certainly make it so it's like you can get the kind of the right color for it. But yeah, NASCAR numbers also work too. Like they're easier to find. So like if you're making like a new team or something, then I would recommend using one of those. And then next thing you would do is print the decals. And there's water slide decal paper you can get at Amazon for a couple of bucks. And then there's two sides. There's the paper side and the decal side. Print the decals on like the label side, because that's where like it'll peel off the best. They have white and clear backgrounds. I use white backgrounds. You can kind of get both, but white's kind of easier to work with. So yeah, and then once you're done with that, you're ready to print the decals. And like make sure you print one page. If you print 2 pages, unless you're doing 2 cars, that would be really smart. And then once it prints out, which it should be right now. Yep, right there. And you take it outside and use spray lacquer. You can also get this at hobby stores. It'll make so that like the ink sets on the paper and it doesn't like dissolve in the water, which is not very good if you're using it. And then once the car is done, you can take it back inside. If it's one color, you could like be done with this step, but since there's like a lot of different colors, you could tape off the sides like and spray darker colors. Another thing is that if your car has like really intricate designs, you don't have to tape them all off unless you like a really good taping skills and a lot of luck and like patience. I just tape off like the main like colors of the car, and like if there's like a gradient or something, then I'll just use the markers on that later. But then you take it outside and put the coat of a darker color on, like it's red for this, and it's same rules go for the white, like stand 6 inches away and get an even coat. But if you forget to like tape off like the side pods or something, try not aim for those places, because that would not be good for the side. Just like as you see, I'm like about 6 inches away, and just getting for drying, it'd be the same for the white, about an hour and a half. Hour and a half probably worked best, but I did an hour just so I could get it done. So yeah. And then after that's done, you would take that back inside to take off the tape on the wheels. If you get overspray, it's not a big deal, because you could get like Sharpie paint markers and like other sorts of stuff for like your intricate designs. But I would do that after you put on the logos. So and I'm sorry if my commentary isn't very good in this video. I just wanted to make it really quick because I just found it really easy to make. It's really fun to make, really easy to make, and I'm not a very good video maker yet, so I'm still working on it. So yeah, like you see there's like a little bit of orange on there. I wouldn't really worry about that. If that bugs you really much, then you could just like use like a paint marker like I said earlier. So then the next step is to get your logos. And this is one of the most important parts of this. Get a water, like pretty warm but not quite, like a bowl of water, and then some pliers, some scissors, and a Q-tip, just so you can like dab the decal down on the car once it's done. So then you would cut out your decals. You would cut out each individual one, and like that, yeah. And then you would cut each and every one out until you can like get it about as close to the size you want it as you can, but try not cut off the logo itself. Yeah, like that. I kind of cut it off on the side, but I'll just fix it later. And then you put it in the water for about 5 seconds. I'd recommend 5 seconds, no more than 5 or 7 seconds. If you do any less, the ink will slide off and it won't look as good. Then you'd get it like a towel or something and dap it off on there. And I would not recommend doing this, but it's easier, I guess, to peel it off with your fingers. It's not the best method, but it works, I think, at least. For me, at least. But that's the main problem right there. If it wrinkles up a lot if you do that. So you have to be really delicate. Try not like tear the decal at all, because that's really easy to do. And then just try and fix it. It'll take a lot of tries to do that. But it'll take a couple of takes to resize it and stuff. So try and put it in the right spot. It'll take, yeah, like I said, it'll take more attempts. Like it took me a little bit. But once you get it in the right spot, then you can dap it down with an expo marker. Not expo marker, sorry, a Q-tip. So yeah, just like that. It takes a little bit of time, and the decal will stick pretty good. If you roughhouse with this car, though, the decals will come off even if you clear cut it. So try and be a little more careful with these, other than the other green light cars. And yeah, you just dab it down evenly. Just make sure none of the paint comes up off the decal. And yeah, all cut to me. See, that's how it looks. It looks pretty good. So once you're done with decaling, now it's time to get all your details in. And I would recommend Sharpie paint markers. You can get these at hobby stores as well. I know a couple of retailers have them. You can get many different colors, like all of the colors you would need, really. And then you would just use paint on your designs like that, get all the places you missed. And yeah. And then you can add accents too, the black accents. I wanted to add those because I thought those look pretty sweet. And then this is the end result. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I think it looks pretty good. You guys can make your own cars. I've made a couple, this Red Bull car, which I think turned out great and stuff. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you found this helpful. And yeah.